What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, another Generation Duel. Or actually, this is Generation Duels because there are two duels in here. This is Full Power Gladiator Beast versus Full Power Nekroz, and this happened, I think, on Tuesday's stream. So this actually happened before the Tag Generation Duels. It's just this wasn't taken from a direct replay from DevPro because I told you guys my DevPro crashes. So I've got the replay, it just doesn't work. So I had to take it from the stream. So it's gonna look a little funky. It's not gonna be like the resolution is not going to be as clear as if I would have taken it straight from a replay, so I apologize about that. And I think most of this video is going to be running at like 2x speed, and I think maybe even the second one might be running at like 2.5x speed, so it might look a little like it might move a little bit fast, but don't worry, you know, it's not going to be as fluent as it would be if I was taking it straight from a replay. So let me go ahead and roll it. Okay, so anyways, why did this match happen? This match happened because we were doing a discussion on like some of the most powerful Yu-Gi-Oh decks ever, which is ultimately going to become a top 10 list, spoiler alert. And people were not feeling how high I had Gladiator Beast on the list, and I had it higher than Nekroz. And then, you know, the Nekroz boys, they were like, yo, Cap, Gladiator Beast is not as good as Nekroz. And I was like, oh, really? And they were like, why don't you prove it then? And I was like, okay. The reason that I felt so confident that Gladiator Beast would be able to just handle Nekroz, again, we're talking full power. We're talking about these decks at their best. You know, 3 copies of Brio, 3 preparation of rights for Nekroz, like as soon as they first came out. But again, I've got all my power cards too. The reason that I felt like Gladiator Beast would be a pretty good matchup for Nekroz is because I've got 3 Cold Wave, and you're a ritual deck. Like, you can't do anything if you can't use spells every turn. You can't summon monsters except like Manju and Senju, and I'm not worried about those. Those cards are not really going to beat me, even if on the off chance you can exceed into something important. The only thing that really matters is Nekroz. So I felt like that. I felt like with that card I could shut you down. But then people were like, oh, by the way, Cap, you get 3 Royal Oppression. And then I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm just gonna fucking destroy you, because that's a card that literally says that you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but I've got a whole bunch of like 1800 and 1700 beaters, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. Honestly, I kind of felt like if Nekroz didn't genlock, I really didn't think that there was anything in their deck that I cared about. Also, Gladiator Beasts have 3, Solemn Judgments this format too, so that's another thing. Alright, so as you see, I just attack over, I believe it's Senju. I can never tell the difference between Manju and Senju, I'm sorry. I attack, and then I go for Murmillo. He ends up using Trishula to negate it, and I'm like, that's lucky for me because I can just test Tiger and I can tag in the Murmillo. See, tagging out is actually a cost, so you can literally just tag in the monster that you just tagged out. So I end up getting Valkyris regardless of the fact that he protected it. And the Heavy Storm is not a good draw. It's never going to be good against Nekroz because unless they play Vanities, it's just a completely dead card. But you never know because Gladiator Beasts have Heraclinos, so there is a way to potentially use that as a tangible resource. I think he's trying to summon Brio using... No, he hasn't done that yet. But I think he's going to try and summon Brionic using Jin and banishing Colossalus, because I think he just searched for Nekroz Mirror. But yeah, I just think that, like, maybe you can argue that Nekroz is a better deck all time than Gladiator Beast. I would still dispute that, but it's just on paper, it's just a really bad matchup because of what, it's not even because of the Glad Beast monsters, because people look at Glad Beast and they think, oh, they're not that strong, look at them, they've got all their cards. It's not about necessarily just the Glad Beast monsters, it's about the cards that Glad Beast had at their at their disposal. Glad Beast had Heavy Storm, they had 3 Cold Waves that were all legal. They had 3 Solemn Judgments, 3 Royal Oppression, and Trap Dust Shoot, not to mention Crush Card Virus is just ridiculous OP. And yeah, Glad Beast could run Crush Card Virus because a lot of people back in this format, they ran DD Crows, Sangan, and Spirit Reaper as, you know, dark targets for Crush Card Virus. Keep in mind, there were no hand traps back in. The only hand trap that was really played was DD Crow. There was no Effect Veiler or Maxi. None of that stuff came, Gores, none of those cards came until the 5Ds era, so those weren't an option. Now you see I go into Grazaris, I tag out for double Aquari. At this point, I get Royal Oppression, and it's like GG. I literally think that there is 0% chance that he can win. The beauty of Royal Oppression, as opposed to Vanities, because some of you guys may not have been playing when Royal Oppression was legal, is the fact that unlike Vanities, you can keep on playing all your cards. You can activate whatever the hell you want. You can just keep on doing stuff, and your Oppression will just sit there locking your opponent out. He tries to use Nekroz Cycle, and I'm like, nope. I don't know why I'm going to a Donald Trump video. It's just one of the songs that that were requested in my stream, but whatever. I think he's trying to use cycle to search another spell. I actually had a player at the first regional I ever topped. I got a player locked under royal oppression with black wings, and he was playing zombies. Zombies was like a chaos variant back then, and the big decks were like Lightsworn, and big decks were like black wings, Lightsworn. What else? Zombies. The guy who actually won the regional was playing Synchro Cat, oddly enough. But anyways, he tried to pay me to death with my oppression. He tried to like summon 5 times into it, and I was like, okay, well, you realize this stuff like, 2,000 light points, and you don't have any cards left, so he ended up scooping, and that was pretty fun for me. Now here, what I should have done is, I keep attacking. What I should have done was just Cold Wave, summon Bestiari, contact, and just blow the face down up. I don't know why I didn't. I was playing like a little too passively. Like against Nekroz with Cold Wave, obviously Cold Wave locks them out of ritual summoning for an entire turn. And if they don't ritual summon, the only thing they can do is pretty much Exceed summon or just, set cards or try and Valk stall you. You don't wanna do that play if they have a Manju on the field and they have a Valk in the hand, because then they'll summon another Manju and then they'll probably like exit on you, and that's the only way they can get back into the game. What you want to do is, if you can blow up their monsters on the field, because no Nekroz ran Effect Veiler, then that's when you want to just take the opportunity to Cold Wave them. And because I could have went into like Heraclinos too, like I could have went to, assuming he didn't Valk me, I could have Grazaris them, popped, attacked, and if he didn't die, I could have just went into like Heraclinos. But that is one thing that Nekroz do kind of have an advantage against Glad. See, during the Glad format, there was no War Chariot and there was no Gladiator Beast of Quest. Those cards didn't come into those cards. They came in the Duelist Genesis, which was the first 5D set. So yeah, this is still GX era that I'm playing in. So there's absolutely no effect negation in my deck. Even Solemn Judgment doesn't count as like effect negation. I have like 0 effect negation. There's no Phoenix Chains or any of that stuff. Like, you basically have to stop things before they use effects. So it does make Trishula a little difficult. You see, obviously, win that match. And then this is just another game that I played against another like Nekroz player. And you can just look at my opening hand. I have Royal Oppression. Like, as soon as I see Royal Oppression, I'm just like, GG Nekroz, you can't beat me. I mean, let alone, even if I didn't, I still could have Cold Waved and locked them out of a turn. I don't think that would have been an ideal play, but it would have been a play that would have potentially stopped him. Now, the thing about the Genlock is I do have a counter to it, essentially, that I can use for my hand. If he goes for the Lavabo Chain, obviously I can DD Crow it, which again I explained. A lot of people ran DD Crow in that format for the Gladiator Beast mirror match because you guys know the basic play. The basic play is to summon Prisma like I did. You dump Bestiari in the graveyard, and then you special summon Test Tiger. You tag out your Prisma because your Prisma is Bestiari, and then you go into Darius, and then you get your Bestiari back, and then you contact and just nuke the entire board. But what you could do, the counter that was, is you would DD Crow the Bestiari, and then when the GB player just had the Darius, it would just sit there doing nothing. Now, most Gladiator Piece players did that in the mirror match, and it was really strong. And then if you just, if your opponent, obviously, like, it made you go first and they didn't have anything, you could obviously, like, crush card them too, and I would be able to use DD Crow on the gen itself. So maybe he wouldn't even get the gen off. But honestly, I felt like that was the only card that I really had to worry about. So you see, in this duel, I tried to follow up with Spirit Reaper. If I would have landed that Spirit Reaper attack, he just would have lost. Like, it would have been game, because not only would I have field dominance over him, which I already have, but then I'd have been poking at his hand. Now, again, as I said, since I don't have any effect negation, he can stall a lot, because keep in mind he has 3 copies of Unicorn and 3 Brios, and 3 copies of Manju, 3 copies of Senju. So he can not only keep searching his Valkyries like pretty consistently, but then he can keep dropping unicorns in the graveyard to just get them back. Now he's trying to just pay me to death. He keeps on activating ritual spells, even though clearly I have oppression. I think I'm gonna let one of these through. See, I thought that, I think he's gonna activate Cycle, and he's going to try and summon. And at that point, or that may be the next turn. Yeah, I think that's going to be the next turn, actually. I should have summoned Bestiari as well. I don't know why I didn't. I should have summoned Bestiari to try and attack too, but I felt like he was probably going to use Valk anyway, so I was just like, whatever. No need to overextend, because this guy, could be playing Regeki or whatever. I don't have an out to that. So you see, he just keeps top decking Senjus and Manjus, but I still feel like I'm in control of this duel the entire time. I have Book of Moon, I have Bottomless, so even if he had Regeki, he still couldn't kill me because I have Book of Moon. This time he tries to go for Cycle. I'm just going to let him because I thought that he was going to summon Valk using 2 of his Manju and Sanjus. And I thought that he was trying to force me to pay 800, but I was like, no, I'm just going to let him and I'm going to bottomless whatever he summons. What I didn't expect was him to use Shuret. I'm still going to bottomless the Valkyries, obviously, but I didn't expect him to actually have a Shuret. So he actually ends up getting a Brio, and I think he's going to turn that into like another Valk. So, I mean, he gets to stall for a very long time. That's unfortunate. There's nothing I can do about that. But in general, there's still not a lot. Now, the thing about Royal Oppression is you have the option of negating the summon. So that's why, you see him exceed. You're like, how could he exceed under Royal Oppression? Royal Oppression still lets the player attempt to do the special summon. You just get to decide at that point, do you want to negate it or do you not? And of course, I'm just going to keep negating. Now, at this point, with him only having 1 monster on the field, I'm like, yeah, it's Cold Wave time. So I Cold Wave, and then I go Test Tiger, and my Prisma is now, it is actually a Bestiary, so we're going to tag him out. We're going to make him into a Darius. I don't know why I didn't normal summon the Bestiary. Oh, no, at this point, I think I didn't normal summon because I'm going to probably go into Heraclinos. Pretty sure I'm going to go into Heraclinos, but I'm looking at Grazaris. We're going to blow that card up. We're going to attack. Should have attacked with Spirit Reaper, but that's cool. Hindsight being 2020. Yeah, because I've got Book of Moon to defend me anyways. Like, if he summons and attacks in the Spirit Reaper, I've got Book of Moon to defend me. But yeah, you see here, I'm going to activate the Darius. We're going to get our Bestiary, and then we're just going to contact again. We're going to have everything going to Heraclinos, and then it's just, if he was already boned by the Royal Oppression, now he has Heraclinos that, it stops spells, and last time I checked, you needed ritual spells to summon Nekroz monsters. Top deck the Solemn Judgment for, I guess, more salt in the wound, and, it just goes downhill from here. Nekroz is an extremely good deck. I think that there are some good matchups for Nekroz. Like, I think Nekroz would probably get shit on by Prophecy because, like, Nekroz was built as a deck to, like, hard counter the extra deck, but Prophecy doesn't, like, use the extra deck. I think Nekroz would be good against Dragon Rulers. Not because of like Trishula. I think it'd be good because of like Genlock, because the only thing they would like, all they really have is like Blaster, you know what I mean? And you can probably get rid of that by like using things like Trishula and whatnot. The thing is though, I don't know, because if Dragon Rulers play Light and Darkness Dragon, then I think that Dragon Rulers could easily summon that turn 1, and you might get boned. Because I wouldn't like Nekroz going up against a Light and Darkness Dragon. Like, what's gonna happen is Lad's gonna eat up like 3 or 4 cards, and even when you finally kill Lad, like your Dragon Rulers are probably gonna be loaded up in the graveyard anyways. He actually does get me kind of low, but I still feel like the game is mine because. Not only do I have 1 more negate from Oppression, but then I have obviously a couple of negates in my hand from Heraclinos, and Desperation worst comes to worst. I obviously have Solemn Judgment, which is just another negate on top of that. So, I just wanted to play this match because a lot of people, they don't understand how powerful Glads really were back then. They look at Gladiator Beast now and they're like, oh my god, the deck is so weak because it has all its cards. It's not like wind-ups, you know what I mean? But a lot of what made Gladiator Beast so powerful was the fact that they were one of the most like spell and trap suppressant deck ever in Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, I'd say that they were probably the most, and it was because they had things like 3 Cold Wave, Giant Trunade, and Heavy Storm. And that's actually one of the reasons why, like, even though I played back then, I didn't really make a big fuss about Royal Oppression being at 3. No one did, because Oppression didn't stay on the field that long. Like, you had 3 Cold Waves, Giant Trunade, Heavy Storm, and Mystical Space Typhoon. Like, Royal Oppressions were not lasting more than, like, 2 turns. Even though it was an amazing card, it didn't stay on the field, and that's why Royal Oppression didn't really beat Gladiator Beast, because they were always, it just seems like they could just easily Cold Wave and just get rid of it. I think I'm actually going to do something really spicy here, because I think he might be. I think he's out of Valkyries. I actually think he's out of Valk. So he tries to summon 1 last time. I give up by Mirror Force, which was limited back then. Also, Bottomless Trap Hole was at 2, and Trap Death Shoot. I top decked the Crush card, and I'm sorry. I know I should end the duel, but I'm sorry. I can't help myself. It's been so many years since I've used the Crush card. I just said it, and I just have to do it, dude. I just have to. He tries to go Kaleidoscope, and I'm like, not so fast, my friend. Can't let you do that, Star Fox. I blast his fucking... He had 4 cards in his hand. Now he has 1 card. So I think I hit Gungnir. I hit Valkyris. And no, it wasn't Valk. I think it was like Gungnir, Bionic, and Decisive Armor. It was definitely 3 cards. And then we got to throw the Rhoda down. We got to go for the Crush Card Virus. And, I'm kind of just fucking around at this point. Now, the thing about this is that's dumb. DevPro will not let you use the pre-errated version of cards, or at least I couldn't figure it out. On YGOpro you can. You type anime, or you just click the little thing that lets you use anime cards, and you can use pre-errated of like you know, Crush Card and Demock and Ring of Destruction to like have the old broken effects. So yeah, I couldn't actually do any damage there. It took me a second to figure out why, but actually I ended up killing him here. So that is the end of the duel. I just wanted to show people, man, you got to put some respect on GB's names. Nekroz is definitely a good deck, one of the best decks ever, but on paper is really not a good match for Nekroz. And I mean, you saw I won those games pretty easily. So thank you guys for watching as always.